So
What's going on, man?
I hear there might be a taco going on with this military parade.
A taco?
A taco.
I have not heard anything about a taco with this meal. I heard that there's going to be counter protests all across the nation on the day of the military parade. But what's the taco?
Yeah. But for some reason, I heard there might be thunderstorms and Trump is tacoing out.
I did hear it's
Trump.
going to rain.
That's okay.
I heard it's going to rain. I have no clue if that is
Should I say Trump is accoing out?
something tells me they'll have Trump in like a protected box. Like I don't like so at every inauguration, not just Trump's, but like they do the inauguration in front of the Capitol, and then there's some kind of a parade that happens. It's not military parade, but there's a parade that happens, and the president and his whole like entourage are in like it's like a it's a booth. It's like a Pope mobile of a booth. It's like a bulletproof glass, and
Hmm.
they're like right there on the street. And I guarantee you it'll be the same setup for this, where he'll
Did you
be
insinuate that it rained at Trump's inauguration?
I don't think I'm just saying at this it's going to rain and he's already going to be indoors because like if it was outdoors he can't risk his hair getting messed up. So
Oh, it's going to be indoors? Wait,
he
what?
he he will be indoors. He'll be in a
Oh,
box, a
okay.
glass box to where he'll be protected from the elements. Now, supposedly they're worried that attendance is going to be low for this. Like it's kind of a weird thing, and it's in DC, which DC is hard to get in and out of to begin with. It's a pain in the ass to go to a parade in front of the White House, basically. From what I've never been there,
Mhm.
that's what I've heard. But then also, everybody's worried about counter protests. So, like, you're going to have some diehard, like, military MAGA type people that show up. But, like,
Hmm.
I think their initial hope was that it was going to be hundreds of thousands of people, close to 1 million people lining the streets. It's not going to
Oh
be anything
God.
like that. There's going to be way more people at the counter protests than there are, which
Yeah.
they're not
Well,
doing
Trump said that he was going to meet counter protests with force.
He did, and all the counter protest groups have been like getting the word out. Like they're not doing anything in D.C. They don't want the clash. Trump wants the clash. Like he wants that, and they're not going to give it to him. So in Philadelphia is where like the main counter protest is going to be. But then in every city, including mine and yours, like there's going to be counter protests that day.
Y-
So
Yeah, I saw 1800 was the last time where I saw
Jesus, yeah.
1800 counter
So
protests.
anyhow, we'll talk about that at the end. There is big breaking news tonight. You've been at work tonight. I know I texted you, but have you really checked out the news at all?
Yeah, I just saw what you texted me. Israel bombed Iraq or Iran.
Iran, yep.
Um, yeah, so basically we're about to go to war with Iran.
So right now we're trying to make it very clear that like we had nothing to do with this, and we'll get to that in a second. But
Okay.
this is they're
Okay.
calling tonight Operation Rising Lion. First of all, for the past 35 years, I think it's since like 1992. Every year they tell us that like, up, Iran is on the verge of getting a nuclear bomb, could be only months away from a nuclear weapon. Like it's been 35 years that we've been hearing
Yeah.
that. And like, who knows? Maybe they are. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, it's kind of the boy who cried wolf at this point. And so
Yeah.
tonight, when it happened, I immediately flipped over to Fox News because I wanted to kind of hear the pro, like, this is a good thing type argument. Um, it was funny because everybody they had on was basically making the case that like we just found out recently that Iran is days away from having a nuclear bomb. Some said weeks, some said days, and I probably saw five different guests come on and say like it was imminent. It was imminent. We had a strike tonight. And then a statement comes out from Bibi Netanyahu. We're gonna watch this real quick because I thought it was kind of funny. He undercut all of them. This is from Fox News.
All
Uh,
right, let's check it out.
Moments ago, Israel launched Operation Rising Lion, a targeted military operation to roll back the Iranian threat to Israel's very survival. This operation will continue for as many days as it takes to remove this threat. For decades, the tyrants of Tehran have brazenly, openly called for Israel's destruction. They've backed up their genocidal rhetoric with a program to develop nuclear weapons. In recent years, Iran has produced enough highly enriched uranium for 9 atom bombs. 9. In recent months, Iran has taken steps that it has never taken before, steps to weaponize this enriched uranium. And if not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year, it could be within a few months, less than a year. This is a clear and present danger to Israel's very survival.
So
so
if that is true,
okay.
who are they going after?
They're going after the nuclear sites, but then they're also going after like the head, which, first of all, to back up, they were all saying
No,
we
but if Iran is actually like months away from having a nuclear weapon or an
Israel,
atom bomb, who are they going after?
Israel, 100% Israel.
And I'm okay with that at this point.
I'm not okay with a nuke going on any city. Like I'm not. I'll say this: there is like me and you are both, I think, on the same side of just being this is a stupid war. But I'm not really on Israel's side over Iran. I just think this is a stupid war. For in the one thing I'll say in Israel's defense is that Iran likes to say all the time that like they want a nuclear weapon so they can blow Israel off the face of the earth. They say that a lot. Okay,
Okay.
so just throwing that out there as this something we all need to understand about this situation. They don't hide the fact that they would love to do that. Now, are they really going to do it? I don't know, but
Yeah,
they
yeah.
talk about it all the time. Um, anyhow, they were all saying that, well, we just found out that he's days away. They're within a week, and then Netanyahu comes out and says a year, maybe months, maybe less than a year, but so it didn't seem imminent. And Trump had peace talks set up for Sunday. It would have been the sixth round of negotiations. That was supposed to be Sunday. He apparently, both privately and publicly, told Netanyahu, do not attack. We have negotiations on Sunday. We're still trying to find a peaceful way out of this. And it seems like Netanyahu is trying to force America's hand. Like they know that if they start to get attacked back, we will step in and defend them. And now we're involved. So, real quick, Rubio put out a statement right after all this came out. Rubio's statement, I'm not going to try to share the screen because we always have struggles with that. But Rubio says tonight, Israel took unilateral action against Iran. We are not involved in strikes against Iran, and our top priority is protecting American forces in the region. Israel advised us that they believe this action was necessary for its self defense. President Trump and the administration have taken all necessary steps to protect our forces and remain in close contact with our regional partners. Let me be clear, Iran should not target U.S. interests or personnel. So we came out right away and we were like, this is Israel. This is Israel by themselves. We're not helping. First of all, everybody knows that's bullshit because Israel can't do anything without the money we give them. We give Ukraine and Israel both a lot of money. And if we didn't want this to happen, Trump could have just said, I'm cutting it off. I'm cutting off the tap, no more funding. And they wouldn't have done it. But that's our official stance is basically Iran. If you want to hit them back, hit them back. But you ain't hitting us back. We didn't have anything to do with this. So that's where we're at right now.
So if Israel and Iran go back and forth and they're at war with each other, does that kind of take a little pressure off of the Palestinians?
Maybe a little bit, but so here's what's going to happen. I'm just going to play this out for you. I'm surprised it hasn't happened already, but at some point, Iran is going to shoot ballistic missiles back into Israel. The last
Hmm.
time they tried to do this was a year ago. It was in October of like 24, and that was the night. I don't know if you remember, but Biden successfully got like Jordan and Saudi Arabia and like all these other countries to pitch in, and like all these countries and us like shot down all the missiles that were coming from Iraq. Do you remember that at all?
Right,
That wasn't
right. The
long
Iron
ago.
Dome.
Yeah, well, it wasn't just the Iron Dome. Like we and like several Muslim countries helped you, and it pissed Iran off
Uh,
because Muslim countries helped do it.
uh,
It doesn't seem like we have all that set up for this time. So at some point, missiles are going to be inbound to Israel, and then at that point, you better believe America is going to step in and help shoot down some of those missiles. And then at that point, Iran is going to say, "Hey, USA, you said you weren't involved in this, but here you are shooting down our missiles. We're trying to get revenge." And that's going to put us into it. So
well, Trump's supposed to have a meeting with Iran like on
Sunday,
Sunday,
yes,
Father's
Sunday.
Day.
That's not happening.
On Father's Day? Like Trump's
It,
not gonna do
it
his kids not come and see him on Father's Day? Is that what's going on?
it wasn't Trump. It was Witkoff, his special envoy to the middle,
Uh,
special envoy to everything. He started off, he was just supposed to be Israel and Gaza, and now he's Ukraine and Russia, and he's in Saudi Arabia. He's doing everything.
mm,
That guy is the deal maker, I guess. Um,
okay.
and that's the other thing is we are now saying, well, they've been stringing us along. They're not really serious. They keep changing their mind, and that's
Yeah.
we're saying Iran's doing that when it's bullshit. So Witkoff told them for like the first two meetings that, hey, you guys can have you can enrich uranium up to like 3.67% to have it for
Yep.
your nuclear program, and they said this is a red line. We need to have our civilian nuclear program, and we said
So
that's fine. Then people started making fun of Trump, and Trump said no. And then we went back to them and said no. And then we flip flop on that twice in like the past month, where we've told them they can, then we tell them we can't. And at one point, the language in the text said that they can, but Trump was publicly saying they can't, and then he got called out on that. So like it's been
of course.
that's been the sticking point for the past while. So like that's why nothing's
Okay.
gotten done, is because we're back and forth on that. And I'll say this: it's a bad time because it feels like America's about to be involved in another Middle East war. That's going to go on for a while. It won't be quick. When we just got
Yeah,
done
and
with
it's
that,
Israel's fault. And it's Israel's fault. We're fighting Israel's battle right now,
they definitely they're
or we're
forcing our
going to.
they're forcing our hand. And if I don't see any way that Trump could be like, no, 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 you guys are on your own. Like I'm not helping. He's got too many. I hate to be like, ooh, the rich Jews, but like he's got too many financial backers, Miriam Adelson and all that, that
Yeah.
donated for him to protect. He's kind of got to
Well,
do it.
it's not just him. It's the House and the
Yeah.
Senate, and it's not
Oh,
even just on the right. It's on the left too. It's like all of them are backed by the Jews. The Jews are what is it? The Israel? What's the lobby? The
APAC.
APAC.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
APAC just keeps pumping money into our political system, expecting, and that's why they're getting all our money for their rocket system.
yeah.
Like,
That's dude. Lindsey
like what are we
Graham.
doing?
I don't know.
We're
Lindsey.
controlled by Israel right now.
There is a high percentage of our government that is very concerned with Israel's interest. I don't want to say they put it over our interest, but it seems that way at times.
Yeah.
Lindsey Graham tweeted tonight. He said, "What he just said, game on with like an exclamation point." And I was pleased with how many sitting House and Senate members and these political figures were tweeting at him and just saying, "This isn't a fucking game." Like a lot of them said, "This is not a fucking game, Lindsey. This is war. This is not
Okay.
good." And it was people that I didn't expect to be on that side. I was
Oh,
happy
good.
to see we're telling maybe they're still pro-Israel, but they were like, "Hey, this is not good for anybody."
Yeah.
It's it's
War
frightening.
is not good. What happened to Trump being the peaceful president?
You know how many people told me that they were voting for him because of the whole no new wars? I swear to God, no new wars got
Oh,
brought up a lot, and by his own standard, okay, let's think about the Trump standard. He said that Ukraine and Russia is Biden's fault because it would have never happened if he was in office. Biden
yeah.
let that war get started. So on Trump's own standard, this is Trump's fault. Okay,
Yeah.
um, I would say, okay,
He
so
also said he was going to solve both of those like day one, right?
he did less than a day.
Okay. Yeah,
Let,
but before he
so
even got back in office.
I want to hear your guess here. So this is bad. Who do you think that the right is blaming? They're not blaming Trump, even though I think the left is going to blame Trump. The right's not gonna. Okay. Would you say that it's Bibi's fault? Would you say that it's Iran's fault? Or would you say it's the war hawks, the pro-Israel war hawks? Who do you think the right? Because there's been a lot of people on the right, Republicans, that have been saying this war is bad. They don't want Trump to get involved in a Middle East war. Like I've seen it a lot.
So this is BB's fault for sure, but what are
The question is, who do you think that the people on the right that are pro-Trump, that they won't blame Trump. So who are they going to blame?
Biden? They're going to blame Biden.
You got the nail on the head. I got a
Dude,
video
I
from
really
I got
I
a
knew
video.
it. Dude, they blame Biden for everything, dude.
Hey,
Why? What
I
is
man,
going on?
I managed to
But
pack.
hold on.
Okay.
But Biden was so incoherent that his whole staff had to do everything
Yeah.
on for him, right? Like he couldn't control the country at all. He was just a little puppet on a string and
Yep.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
like how they make it seem like he was a sleepy old man that couldn't do anything, but also he was a criminal mastermind. And like they
Yeah.
kind of bounce back and forth between that. I'm like, which one is it? Is he an evil genius or anyhow? I
Um,
managed to pack two of your favorite people into one video clip here,
oh,
talking about how this is
oh.
all Biden's fault. Check this
Okay.
out from Fox News real quick.
It's also Israel, in many ways, I think you can argue, Senator, is doing the world a favor. And if to the 80s,
What the fuck? Hold on. What the fuck? Did he
I had a
just say
feeling. I had a feeling you wouldn't get past that first part. Yes, you heard that correctly. Israel is
Israel is doing
doing
the world a favor right now?
Sorry. When I watched this clip, I couldn't wait to watch it with you.
Oh no.
Yeah. So
Oh,
okay,
Hannity and
you heard,
Ted Cruz.
it's also Israel, in many ways, I think you can argue, Senator, is doing the world a favor. And if you go back to the 80s and they took out the Iraqi nuclear sites, it almost went undetected. You might recall that the Syrian nuclear program was in play and they were able to fly under the radar, take out those sites. Very few people even noticed or paid attention. And I know there's been a lot of back and forth because this is Iran and what Iran is going to do. There's one thing that I would argue. This is happening because our former president, that would be Joe Biden, he literally turned a blind eye towards the sanctions that were bankrupting this country. And by doing so, he literally has enriched the country of Iran. He's given them money to foment terror, given them money to build out their nuclear facilities even further. And that leads us to this moment where we are today. Now,
do you think it's too late to impeach Biden over this? Because I think they might try. Somebody's going to suggest it.
That was the funniest thing I've heard all day.
Yeah,
I think yes. I think
so. Now let's do a quick history lesson real quick. In 2018, Trump pulled us out of the JCPOA. Okay, that was Obama's Iran nuclear deal. Okay, by all accounts,
okay.
we had nuclear inspectors going in there randomly checking, and by all accounts, they were following the deal. What everybody was mad about is the deal allowed them to still have a civilian nuclear program, enriching uranium to like 3.67% or something like that, and we allowed them to have missiles. They could keep testing and working on missiles. Trump hated both of those things, so he pulled us out of that deal. And as soon as he pulled us out, they said, "Okay, cool, we're gonna work towards enriching more uranium." And they've been doing that now for 7 years. Trump pulled us out of this deal. The deal had them halted in their tracks to where they were not making any progress. And everybody said, "Oh, well, you know they cheat with that, right?" No, we were going in inspecting all their facilities. Everybody felt pretty confident that they were not cheating it, that they were following the deal. Trump ended that deal. So all I have to say about that.
Yeah. I remember that, and but they were also saying like they're only 6 months away from creating a nuclear deal before that, right? Like they just kept.
It's been that way.
Yeah.
They're within a certain amount of time, a year, a week, whatever it is, from having a nuke for the past 35 years. And here's the thing, I think at any point they were apparently enriching uranium up to 60%, which you have to get it up to like 90% for it to be
Okay.
weapons grade. But if they were enriching it up to 60%, something tells me if they wanted to, they could probably turn it up to 90, but
Totally.
they knew that would bring on a strike, so they were probably holding off there. Maybe
I mean, you
apparently
could probably Google how to enrich uranium, like
yeah, I don't know.
figure it out.
I forgot to mention this, but in this strike tonight, by the way, on like Twitter, I've been seeing, pulling kids out of the rubble type stuff, dead bodies. So like they hit
Right.
buildings, but they also got the head of Iran's military, and their military is called like the NRCG, like something like that. The head of their
Okay.
military. If you remember, Trump assassinated the head of their military during his first term, and that's
Okay.
why supposedly they've been wanting to assassinate Trump in revenge ever since then. So they're
Okay.
still very upset about that. So tonight, Israel got the new head of the military, and everybody assumed it was a bomb. I haven't seen it reported on the real news, but on Twitter, the rumors out there, it seems like they're waiting for confirmation, is that it was basically an on-the-ground strike team that like
Oh.
got him in his bed. It was middle of the night. So like not only did they hit with missiles, and this is unconfirmed, but like an on the ground special commando Israeli team like went in through this guy's window and killed him in his bed or something. That's what's being talked about. I don't know if it's true. We'll wait and see if tomorrow that might be bullshit, but that's what's being
Okay.
talked about. So
Okay. I would imagine he has better security than that, but whatever.
I'm just saying.
Uh,
Well, I mean, I don't know if you've seen the different movies about Israeli special forces. Back in the day, I'm not going to go on a long thing, but the Munich Olympics, some Jews got held hostage by Muslim terrorists, and then there are movies about this. There's a movie called The Sword of Gideon that's like an old movie but really good. But like Israel basically spent the next like 10, 15 years like finding all the people behind that plot, like tracking them down in different countries and like one by one taking them out. Very slick. So there's
mm.
my dad used to tell me, he's like, never fuck with the Israelis. Like they don't forget and they will get their revenge. Like he told me that as a kid. So they do these things.
Something to
Now,
haunt your dreams as a
yeah,
child.
I don't know why, but I remember hearing that.
Don't
Like,
fuck with the
dude,
Jews.
like at the age of 8, I knew that. I was like, yeah, don't fuck with Israel. Like I just kind of knew. Anyhow, I think he showed
Yeah.
me that movie at one point, and from then on, it was that. But anyhow, these can be scary times. We might have boots on the ground in the Middle East again.
Mhm.
There's one thing that's making me kind of feel thankful right now. People are forgetting that we have a former weekend talk show co-host that recently quit drinking in charge of the military.
Pete had Seth.
Yeah. I mean, we got Pete. He's not drinking anymore. And he was on a weekend talk show for a while. That has to count for something. Good.
He's in charge of the military. He was an ex-military guy. Let's give him a little bit of
He
credit.
was I don't think he was high up in the ranks, but yes, he was in the military.
He did control some sort of like ex-veteran affairs
Apparently,
program.
apparently controlled it very bad and
Yeah.
mismanaged funding and stuff. But
Yeah,
yeah,
bankrupted it, right? That's all. That's
so
everything, right?
we
And
got
he only really worked 1 day a week at Fox News. Is that
we're
correct?
I think it was 2 days. I think it was both weekend days, and he was the
Oh,
co-host.
so
So I mean,
Saturday, Sunday
I
co-host?
think so.
Oh,
Yeah,
amazing. Okay. So yeah, I mean,
and he quit drinking. So when you think
oh,
about it, though, we're rolling into a
no.
war.
Well,
We're rolling into a war, and like the top two decision makers with what we're going to do is Trump and Hegseth.
well, I just saw him today on the stand.
He didn't do well.
Yeah, apparently the question that really got to me was he was asked if there were operations or intelligence in place to go to war with Greenland.
And he wouldn't deny. They were saying they asked him, "Do you have like battle plans ready to go to Greenland?" And then it was a
Yeah.
because he answered it kind of vaguely, and a Republican senator was like, "Hey," he basically said, "Let me help you here. You didn't mean to say this. What you meant to say was this, right?" And he was trying to like walk him to say the right thing, and Hegseth was like, "Nope, I meant what I said. Like all options
Yeah.
are on the table. So yeah, like we could very well attack." I don't know.
Right.
Anyhow,
So Greenland's on the table.
Greenland is on the table.
I mean, does
So
that mean we get cheaper flights to Greenland for vacations?
it's part of America. I don't know. Yeah, and they just signed that mineral deal with Europe, so I don't know what we're still thinking is going to happen there. But
Okay.
anyhow,
Hmm. Interesting.
so we're getting off that, and by the time tomorrow when I post this, it'll be Friday. Like I'll bet a lot because I saw a minute ago that like Israel has a second wave on the way right now to hit
Oh.
to hit Iran. I can't believe Iran hasn't struck back yet. And if they're thinking they're going to wait for a coordinated response, like by the time they do, Israel's hitting all their missile sites. So if they're going to strike back, do it now, or you're probably not going to have an opportunity. But
Well, I feel like Iran didn't the last time they got struck, didn't they wait like a week or two before
they
they struck
did,
back?
but that was kind of. It was a very targeted strike, and then it was very telegraphed. They said, "Hey, we're striking back on this night." Like everybody knew what was
Oh
going
yeah.
on. This is Israel's making it clear this is the beginning of a war. Like this is not this. I think Netanyahu said that this will go on for as many days as it's going to take, but like people are acting like this is going to be a thing for
As
a little
many days
while.
as it takes for what?
I don't know what their goal here is. I don't think, like I said, I don't think this is a one night strike and then it's over. Like I think this is where we're at. So anyhow,
Okay.
yeah. So we're gonna move
Okay.
on. Like I said, by the time we post this, more stuff will have happened. But there are other things happening in the news. So we had a Blue Anon conspiracy a couple weeks ago, or last week, about Elon's black eye, and we've all thought Stephen Miller did it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard the new reports? And I want to stress that it seems like I've seen this reported in a lot of places, but it seems like it's all coming from Bannon, from Steve Bannon.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
he is connected, but Bannon has his own theory, and I think the Washington Post ran a story on it. So I mean, I guess it's the story now. But did you see who?
I love that the guy who owns a Barbie house punched Elon in the face. I'm
So
so excited about that.
have you heard how it went down? Supposedly, like what the mechanics of it were?
Like Elon tried to like shoulder check him in the chest or something, and
They had just left Trump's office, and I guess Dissent was bitching at Elon, and he said he called him a fraud. He was like you're just a fraud. Like there are no Doge savings, blah blah blah. And Elon's move was to like put his shoulder into Dissent's chest, which like I'm trying to picture.
it's
I
a
don't.
lot of that's a lot of moving unless you're really close.
I like a push I could see, but a shoulder into the chest kind of doesn't make sense. But apparently, Besant, who is 70, I'm going to say, 70-year-old, very white collar, very proper, glasses, gay guy, lives in a pink Barbie house. I'm just trying to paint a picture here. Apparently, like immediately clocked him, like no hesitation,
Good,
popped Elon in
good.
the eye. I don't know why, like I can't see that. I can't picture it. Every time you see Besant sits like
I can see it. I can
incredibly
see it.
straight up. Yeah,
He's yeah. I don't think he's gonna take much guff from people.
I
But
guess
said
not. I don't know.
I
I
don't
would.
like him. I don't like him. I don't like him at all. But I
Yeah.
feel like he's gonna stand up for himself, and
Well,
he's probably taking a kickboxing class or two.
he probably does like Taibo or something. It's like I don't know why. I could see him in one of those Zumba like where they're punching and whatnot.
He's got a whole like setup at his pink Barbie house,
Oh God, yeah,
a
that's so
time,
funny.
a whole
Um,
Tybo room.
real quick. So that story came out, I think, over last weekend, and then just like 2 days ago, Vicent had to come in front of either the House or the Senate. I think it was the House for a committee hearing, and somebody actually asked him about it. And at first, he kind of denies it without denying it. He does like one of those like you believe everything you hear, but then at the end, what he ends with, in my mind, confirms the story 100%. Check this out real quick. This is I think this is from C-SPAN.
Hey, how are you doing?
So far, so good.
Okay, I was just curious because I know Elon Musk body checked you at the White House. I just no animosity to Elon Musk, right?
You know that?
That's what I heard.
So you believe
what I heard.
you believe what you read on Breitbart is what
listen,
you're telling us, Congressman.
I didn't know if it's too sensitive for you. I won't ask that question, but let me move on.
I will take South Carolina over South Africa any day.
Mr. Secretary.
I don't know why that end. I'll take South Carolina over South Africa any day. I think that's him basically saying like, yeah, I popped him. Did you read it that way, or I feel like that's him confirming the story?
I think so.
Yeah,
He's 62. It makes sense.
Oh, he's only 60. I guess he seems so stiff that I would have thought he was older.
Is he ex-military?
I don't think so. He's ex like Wall Street. Yeah, I
Oh,
don't. He's Goldman Sachs or one of those. I don't know if you pull up his wiki, but yeah, he's a finance Wall Street guy. Like him and a couple other guys Trump brought in, or like, and that's both sides last time were running on like the anti-Wall Street thing, and then as soon as Trump
hedge fund manager.
hedge fund manager, that makes sense.
Yeah.
As soon as but I think Kamala would have done the same thing. They both run on like we're anti-Wall Street, and then as soon as they get in, they bring in Goldman Sachs people. So
Yeah,
I can't
totally.
hate on just Trump for that. Kamala would have done it.
Yeah, but I mean, and we both watched what is that? Wolf of Wall Street. Like those
Yeah.
guys are animals, right?
Dude.
Like, yeah.
That movie's one of the all-time greats.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna totally sidetrack us. Apologize in advance. Did you see today they're making a sequel to one of my favorite movies of all time? Do you know who Mel Brooks is?
Yeah, of course.
I encourage everybody to go on Instagram and look at
Dude,
Mel
we
Brooks.
watched me and you have watched Mel Brooks movies like together, multiple
Okay.
Mel Brooks films. Yeah.
I just remembered way back in the day when we were young lads and we first started experimenting with a sticky green flower.
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
my stepdad caught us and he was like mad at us at first, and then he was like, "Hey, y'all need to watch Young Frankenstein on weed." And we were like, "Oh, really?" And then we rented it, and that was like one of the first Mel Brooks movies I saw. Anyhow, they're making a sequel to Spaceballs 2, or the Spaceballs,
Ooh.
and it's gonna.
Okay.
Rick Moranis is coming out of retirement to play Lord Helmet. And
awesome.
Bill Pullman, I think he's coming back as whatever Star Lord, whatever. What was his name?
Is Mel Brooks directing it?
Yeah, Mel Brooks is so the trait like there's a little teaser online, and then at the end it's Mel Brooks sitting there and he's wearing a shirt that says like Spaceballs the sweatshirt, and
Okay.
I'm so excited. So anyhow,
We should play that teaser next week
okay, yeah,
or next episode.
You got to be able to read the teasers. You know, like the Star Wars scroll
Yeah.
at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's that, and it's really long, and you have to read it all, but it's hysterical. So I'll send you that on Instagram.
Okay. Cool.
Anyhow, sorry, I sidetracked this. When it comes to Elon and Vicento, I have another video on this, and we've been talking about like resistance heroes. Like, if you don't like Trump, who in your mind are the biggest media personality resistance heroes right now?
Well, I'm looking at your video list here, and Tim Dillon is up there, and I have been following Tim Dillon for the last week or two, and like,
yeah, okay,
I like he really kept quiet during the election, right? Like, like he really wasn't like pro-Trump, or he wasn't like Rogan, where you could tell he's pro-Trump, but like he kind of kept quiet, and now he's coming out and he's really pushed.
You know what I'm starting to think, which I respect this. He called out the bullshit under Biden, and he's going to call out the bullshit under, and I have no problem with that. Like, call it fair on both sides, and I'm all about that. And he seems like he's about to join the ranks of Bill Burr, Jon Stewart. Who else? That's kind of in my mind.
Sagar called him our day and age is
George
what's
Carlin.
his name? George Carlin.
I
Yeah.
saw that.
Which I don't agree with at all, but okay.
He's getting there. If he keeps this up, he could.
Well, if he has a stand-up routine that's good.
His stand-up is terrible. I hate his stand-up, but I love him on podcasts. But anyhow, let's watch this so everybody can see. This is Tim Dillon on Elon.
This is an erratic, drug-addled mega billionaire who was brought into the White House under the auspices of figuring out how much fraud, waste, and abuse there is in the government. Now, obviously, there is a lot. He doesn't really find any. He said, oh, it's going to be $2 trillion. Then it was $1 trillion. Now it's whatever. He's running around going, Social Security is paying all this stuff out to dead people, but that's not true. Social Security keeps people on the rolls, but they're not really being paid, and that's been proven. He hasn't shown any proof of all this waste and fraud and abuse that he uncovered. He's just kind of running around high.
Yeah.
I'm liking it. He also, it was like a 7-minute clip, and I think I sent it to you, but where he was talking about Palantir and how these tech bros that run all these, AI corporations are, it's without naming names, he was throwing podcasters under the bus because he was saying, I've been invited to these people's houses. I know a lot of fellow podcasters that are going to these dinners where they're basically getting told what to say. And he was kind of,
No.
I sent it to you. You must not have watched it, but
No.
it's in my mind the whole time I was picturing Rogan because he said like everybody who moved to Austin, like as soon as you got there, you got hit by all these billionaire tech bros who were suddenly inviting you to all these dinners. And then when you get there, they want to talk about media and blah, and they're giving you the message and you help them, they're going to make sure you're taken care of. And he was saying that like almost, I think he said everybody else he knows in the podcast game has been taking them up on these dinners, and he's like, nope, I'm not doing it. Like, I'm not going to even give the impression of being bought. So, anyhow,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll send you
Yeah,
that
I
again.
mean, you are Rogan, Tony Hinchcliffe, who else?
So Shane Gillis and Tom Segura are both down there, but I don't feel like those two are carrying water for anybody. So if they're going to those dinners, they're not following through with
Tom
anything.
Segura is not. Shane Gillis, he still walks the tight line for me.
I think he does a great job of hitting both sides. I
Yeah.
very much enjoy his comedy.
Well, yeah, I enjoy his comedy. But he doesn't. What does he do? He doesn't hit both sides. He kind of plays both sides.
Yeah, I
Like
think he
sometimes
does it.
some things he says is like it seems like, oh, he's super right wing, and then some things he says he's like super left wing, and you're just like, what?
I think
Like
he
where are, yeah,
balances.
I don't know where he is. Yeah.
I think he
I,
does it
I
on
imagine
purpose.
he's on Rogan's side or he's on the side of money, but like
He does a good job, if nothing else, for the sake of not alienating any people. If you're a comedian, you want everybody to come see your show, so he's doing
yeah,
a good job of not being left or right. Like you can't figure him out. He's got, like most people, he's probably got differing opinions on some things he's right, on some things he's left. Like that's where a
sure,
lot of people are. But for
sure.
whatever reason, we feel like we have to pick a side and agree 100% with that side, and most people aren't really there, in my opinion. Anyhow,
Yeah.
I go down
Yeah.
that road for a little bit.
I can see that. I feel like the left is more accepting of people.
Yeah, they're definitely more accepting. There's a couple things where I'm just like, yeah, that's still the Republican in me. Like, I think that the national debt's a problem and we should get that under control. Like, that's apparently a Republican point of view. We've said it
Not
before.
anymore. Not anymore.
It was forever. That was an old school
I mean,
Republican point of view.
what's this big beautiful bill they're about to pass here?
That these current Republicans are killing me. But even like when it comes to, and I love all groups and I am an ally with every group. I'm not trying to be hateful. I'm a little uncomfortable with people that were born a man and transitioned to a woman playing in high school sports in the female sports. Like I'm a little uncomfortable with that. Like I'm not fully
Yeah,
down.
but that's not happening. That's not really happening.
I know, but that makes me right wing apparently, and like so I'm left wing on a lot of stuff. But there's a couple things
No,
where
but
I
that's
guess
not happening. That's the thing, is you don't have to worry about that because that's not really happening.
it's not happening often. There was two different ones last week where they like finished.
Okay.
They finished on the podium. If you think one high school in a state, that's whatever percentage that is 0.0000001 or whatever it is. But it
Yeah.
still happens here and there, and I think that overall, I'm not cool with that.
Yeah. I mean, if a man is beating up a woman or
Combat
whatever.
sports for sure, but even just like one of them was track and field. The kid got first place, and they were born a man and competed in female divisions, whatever. It happened like there were two different ones where they won like a state championship last week.
Track and field, I don't really care. And nobody should care about anything in high school sports anyway.
Okay,
But like if you're in a combat sport, that's where that comes in.
combat definitely.
If you were if you have like natural male testosterone flowing through your blood at a certain point, you become a stronger human being, right?
Yeah.
A
But I would
faster,
argue,
stronger.
I was about to say, you're also faster. So, like when it comes to track and field, and it's just, like I have a daughter in a couple of years, if she's competing at state level for different sports, and then
Uh-huh.
she ends up getting second to a person that was born a man, I'm going to feel a little chipped on that. I'm probably not going to be okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying
Okay.
that, but I don't, I'm not mad at those people. I don't hate them. I think we need to figure
Yeah.
out a way to handle this.
Yeah.
What kills me is
It needs to be figured out for sure. Like,
what kills me is the right. They'll be like, he shouldn't he shouldn't compete in women's sports because he's a man, and they're just a dick about it.
oh,
And it's like, stop being a dick
oh,
about it. Like,
yeah.
there's a nice way to handle this, and
Yeah.
you like they,
She was born a man, and we don't think that she should
yeah. But
compete against other females because she had testosterone, like natural testosterone flowing through her
yeah,
blood from age 12 or whatever like that. Like, yeah, make it more scientific, but apparently science is dead. So
we don't believe
we're
in
not gonna listen
science.
to science anymore.
No science. So, hey,
No science.
do you want a quick tariff update? I have the chart up with all the with all the
Why do we
trade
always
deals
do tariffs?
because it's always happening.
Yeah,
I
I
got
definitely want a tariff update.
We have to update how many trade deals we've got. By my
Zero?
count,
Wait,
by
hold
my
on.
count, zero.
We still
So
have zero. Fuck.
damn it, zero. What's funny is Trump got up one morning in the last couple of days and announced like we have finalized the deal with China, and he totally tried to make it seem like we have a trade deal with them. And then the text of it all came out, and apparently like we've formalized the agreement we made 3 weeks ago with them that we're going to drop down to 55%, whatever it is, and they're going to
Uh-huh.
drop down to this, and they're going to let the rare earth minerals come back in, which
Uh-huh.
there's a deadline on that. Basically, it's for 6 months. So basically, this is a 6 month extension to get a deal done because they have agreed to basically let the rare earth minerals flow for 6 months, and then it cuts off again if we don't have a new trade deal with them. So we basically bought ourselves some time with China. I've made you watch videos of this guy before, but he's my favorite person to talk about trade. His name's Justin Wolfers, and he is a professor at the University of Michigan. This is him on MSNBC talking about the China deal.
Justin, take me through whatever it is that the administration is saying has happened with China.
Well, what they're saying and what the reality is totally different. Nicole, it's a very funny world. I love coming on your program because I love to teach economics, but it turns out sometimes what I have to do is just read the newspaper and tell the truth out loud. So, or actually read the official readouts. And so what happened was Howard Lutnick went to London. Funny place to go, London, because it was the last place he failed to negotiate a trade agreement. Met with the Chinese after we already have a deal in place with the Chinese, one that they'd struck in Geneva. And at the end of that, he announced that they had agreed, he and the Chinese, that they would each go back to their bosses to get sign-off, that we would now agree that the old agreement was still the new agreement. That's the enormous breakthrough here. By the way, that old agreement that we now agree is our agreement, that old agreement was not, in fact, an agreement, but it was a pause on tariffs for 90 days. We've seen that trick before, combined with a framework for future talks that might lead to an agreement. Nicole, my parents got divorced many years ago. I'm used to this sort of lawyer speak. It doesn't bring back good memories.
Oh my God. What did you just say? It's
So
these are talks that might lead to an agreement to agree to another agreement that would actually get to the original agreement.
yeah, we're not anywhere close to a final agreement. We formally agreed that the talks we had 3 weeks ago are what we're going to do, which is basically a 90-day pause on tariffs and a 6 month pause on rare earth minerals. That's what we've agreed to. So that's, but Trump was all over Truth Social, like, we finalized the great deal. Relations with China are great. Nope, we're still negotiating with them. So
90 deals in 90 days.
So just 2 days ago, Besant on Capitol Hill from that video we saw earlier, he said that Trump might extend the 90 days for any country that's negotiating in good faith. And everybody's like, oh shit, okay, so there's going to be another extension. But then Trump, I guess they made fun of Trump again about that. So he came out like later that day or the next morning and said, no, he's not extending it. In fact, he might move the deadline up. So who knows? I don't know.
He's going crazy, dude. He's going nuts. Like, I don't think.
Yeah.
I, Oh my gosh.
Things aren't going well for him. Real quick, and I'd save this for a little bit later, but there was a new Quinnipiac poll that came out. This is the latest numbers on Trump, and it's only one poll. So, I always say let's look at a couple polls in a row. But by a margin of 53 to 27, voters oppose the big, beautiful bill. So only 27% of people approve of that.
Okay.
Only 67% of GOP voters support it versus 2% of Democrats and 20% of independents. So only 67% of Republicans like the big, beautiful bill. So that means a third of them don't like it, and 80% of independents don't like it. Independents are crucial.
Okay.
Then overall, his job approval is at its lowest rank now. It's down to 38%. On immigration, only 43% approve. So he's
Oh,
underwater. That's been one of his strongest things. He's underwater
yeah,
there.
yeah.
On his deportations, 40% approve. So underwater there. On the economy, 40% approve. On trade, 38% approve. And then on Ukraine, 34% approve. So all those numbers just came out like 3 days ago. Think about how much momentum they had those first couple months when Elon was on stage with a chainsaw and just they were getting all their nominations passed through, and it seemed like Trump was unstoppable. That was only like 60 days ago. Like not even that. That was like
He's still unstoppable though.
the momentum is definitely gone. Like now they're at a point where it's catching up.
Okay.
So
Okay. It's
yeah,
it's starting to catch up.
yeah.
When is the night? When are the 90 days done? 90 days a night.
It
90
would be
deals,
it'd
90
be
days.
90 days from April 9th. So
Okay.
that'd be
April,
July
May,
9th.
June, July 9th. Okay. So we've got another month.
Yeah,
He's got almost another month.
yeah,
Okay.
little less than a
All
month.
right.
So
All right. We won't get on that yet. We'll
yep.
wait.
Okay,
We'll give him
that's
some time.
this is the shortest amount of time I devoted to the trade deals and the tariffs in the past several weeks. So we're done with that. I'm moving on.
Okay.
Okay, we got one major subject left, and let me first say, I had a buddy of ours, a mutual friend who's actually coming to visit here this weekend. He mentioned recently, he's like, you know what I love is that you guys always make it a point to say like everything's fine, like we're good, the world's not ending, everything's fine. And I got to tell you, in like the past
Wait, does
five.
he think we're serious?
No, he just likes the fact that we say that. He doesn't think we're
Oh,
serious.
okay.
I'm trying to be positive and like not be a world is ending kind of guy, but I got to tell you, in the past like 5 days, I've been a little demoralized. Between the taking over of the National Guard, which we're going to talk about, sending the Marines in, which the Marines never even got there. They're still not there, and apparently they're never going to get there. But the rally that he had, or the I guess it was a rally. I don't know what you call it at Fort Hood, where he was speaking to the troops, and
Uh,
like when they do that, it's always supposed to be nonpartisan, and the troops
yeah.
aren't supposed to boo or
He's
cheer
very
any sides.
partisan. Yeah.
It was so partisan, and that was just like a wow, like
That was
that's
scary.
happening, and nobody really cares. Like this is where we are now. The riots in LA. Let's talk about this real quick. First of all, this in my mind, immediately when I saw this happening, I was like, this is 100% engineered by Trump. Like this is what he wants. He needs a distraction. The big beautiful bill, it's probably going to pass, but it's struggling
Well, the
right now.
riots weren't engineered by Trump.
They
The
were.
riots are natural. The riots are natural.
I disagree strongly.
In California?
Disagree
What
strongly.
started the riot or what started the protests?
Let's get to that in a second, okay? I'm
Okay.
gonna explain this to you, okay?
We gotta separate the protests from the riots, I guess. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay, okay.
So, real quick, big beautiful bill is struggling. Just like 2 days before all this started in California, Elon said that Trump is on the Epstein files and he's basically a pedo. Like the news cycle was not being kind to Trump at all. And then all of a sudden, Stephen Miller, his right hand man, says, okay, it's time to go ahead and do some ICE raids deep into the heart of LA. And let's be merciful. Let's pick up kids. Let's pick up everybody we can, knowing what kind of a response that's going to get. If you,
LA is known. LA sets their city on fire when they win a championship.
yes,
Let's be serious. Yeah.
they 100%
They
knew
love a good riot.
this was going to be confrontational. There's no way they were going to go in and do mass ICE immigration sweeps in downtown LA without a response. So yes, I think that the protests were engineered to change the news cycle. And even though it's kind of like, oh, people are like, he took over the National Guard, blah blah blah. This is a battle he doesn't mind having. Like some of his people are very, very for this. he feels comfortable in this argument. He didn't like where we were with the big beautiful bill and what it's going to do to the deficit and how many people are going to lose their health care. And then, oh, Elon says you're a pedophile. Like, this was strategically done. And when it happened the first night, like it wasn't that big a deal. Like there was a protest, and there is always a moment when it shifts from a protest to a riot. And remember the thing I've told you a couple different times about if you're at a rally and all of a sudden you see Nazi flags all around you and you don't say anything and you don't leave. Well, now you're at a Nazi rally and it's your fault. Like you have a chance to leave. So if you're there and all of a sudden now people are breaking glass or destruction, setting cars on fire, and you stick around, you're a rioter now. Even if you're just standing there watching, you had your chance to leave. So I feel strongly about that. During the daytime, they're out there singing and dancing and being peaceful, and then at some point in the night, it changes. Screw those people, arrest them all. I have no problem with those people. I really don't.
There's a great song that we should all listen to tonight.
Okay.
It's by Sublime. It's called April 29th, 1992. And
is it the LA riots?
Yeah.
Okay.
They had a song about it, and it's a fantastic song. Everybody should listen to it.
I don't know that I've heard that Sublime song, so I'll check
it's
that
an amazing
out.
song. I wish we could play it. I don't think we can though.
I think YouTube would gank us down in a second for that. So.
Yeah. But I think it's a great song, and it's about the riots, and apparently the lead singer of Sublime got a bunch of free furniture. So
he was in those. That makes sense. So yeah, those were the Rodney King riots, and if you want to that was a riot. Like that, the National Guard needed to be called in there, whereas here. That first night wasn't that bad, and then Trump calls in the National Guard, and that's only going to inflame things further. Like that's going to draw a response. So every step along the way, and then I'm sending in the Marines now. Now you got people coming in from out of state to be a part of this, to fight back against the government. He, at every step along the way, he escalated this because, like I said, he's totally fine with this being in the news. He will live this life as long as he can, which now, I don't know if you've seen, but they went ahead and spread it. Now it's Seattle, Omaha, Nebraska. They were raiding like chicken farms and all that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought he was going to back off of the farmers. He said that today.
We're gonna get to that in a second. That was today. Hold off on that. But anyway, first of all, this is a video from back in 2020 when he was running against Biden for re-election. This is from ABC. Let's check this out real quick.
I promised 4 years ago at the Republican convention, I'm going to restore law and order.
And I have, except in Democrat-run cities. Look, we have laws. We have to go by the laws. We can't move in the National Guard. I can call insurrection, but there's no reason to ever do that, even in a Portland case. We can't call in the National Guard unless we're requested by a governor.
So he knew the law. And he still said, okay, I'm going to do it. Now, just tonight, a judge who it turns out it's the brother of a former Supreme Court judge, Justice Breyer, his brother. But just tonight, they ruled in favor of California and Gavin Newsom. So tomorrow at noon, Donald Trump has to relinquish his control of the National Guard, and it goes back to Gavin Newsom. And at that
what about the Marines?
You know what? I didn't see anything about the Marines, but the Marines have still not showed up there. Like he said. Well, it's hysterical because he said, what was it? He said, after the second night, he was like, it was much calmer last night. Thank you to the National Guard, blah, blah. The National Guard hadn't even gotten there yet.
Oh, yeah.
They got there the next morning and were setting up. Like I said, had he not done any of that, this would have been a 2-day thing and it would have been over. But instead, it's still going on. It's going on tonight. We're not seeing it because of the Israel stuff, but it's going on tonight.
Well, right before we jumped on here, man, I was watching videos of LA, and it was mostly like POV stuff where like a girl would be filming, and it would be filming like, the police and then the rioters, and then like one girl like, hey, I'm trying to get home. And she'd be like, can I get by here? And then point blank, they would fucking shoot her.
I saw it. So I didn't pull that video, but yeah, she walked up to him and she was like, I live in those apartments right there. And they were just like, get back, go that way, get back. And she was like, I live right there. And then they shot her from like 15 feet away. And then the girl that was recording ran over and tried to help her. And while she was helping her, they started threatening to shoot him again. She was like, we're moving. It was tough to watch.
It's really tough. And then there's another guy. He was a lawyer. He got shot. He was asking for a guy's badge number. He was like, what's your name and badge number? What's your Which is like, yeah, which is absolutely 100%. They're supposed to give your badge number, right? If you ask a police officer what's your name and badge number, they have to give it to you. And he wouldn't do it. He kept asking him, what's your badge number? What's your badge number? I'm behind this glass. I'm not doing anything. I'm
Yeah.
just recording. Like, what's your badge number? And then the guy was like, I'm going to shoot you. And he just went, boom. And that's when the video cut out. And I was just like, oh, shit.
See, and there's too many videos like that. Now, there was one really funny one, I will say. And I'm normally not in favor of cops shooting tear gas and whatnot at people, but there was one video, I didn't pull it.
The Australian reporter?
No, I did pull that. We're going to that here in a second.
Okay.
But there was a guy that he like ran up and kicked a tear gas canister back into the police line and then was like slowly backpedaling, like kind of cocky, like, yeah, like I should them. And like while he was doing it, I fucking tear gas canister hit him right in the nuts, like
Oh, God.
hard, and like folded him over like a lawn chair. And I don't know why, but that did make me laugh. I don't want to see
So
that.
when I go on Saturday, I should probably wear a cup.
Man, so yeah, we'll talk about our weekend plans here in a second. The reporter, since you brought her up real quick, this is fun. Everybody watch this, but what I want you to pay attention to is in the background on the left-hand side of the screen, you see the cop that shoots her. He's not far away. He pulls his weapon up and aims it right at her and shoots her. Like when I saw it the first time, I thought it must have been from far away and they missed their target and she was an innocent hit. No, he hit her purposely. It's kind of hysterical.
Whatever video I saw, it was the first video I saw of it, and they like zoomed in on him right
I don't have
before
that.
it, and I was like, oh shit, just popped her.
I don't have that. But yeah, check this out real quick. This is from an Australian reporter covering the LA riots.
Standing off, this situation has now rapidly deteriorated. The LAPD moving in on horseback, firing rubber bullets at protesters, moving them on through the heart of LA. You just shut the fuck up. You okay? I'm good.
Yeah, just completely and utterly saw. She has a mic in her hand, a camera pointed right at her. He just went boom.
Yeah, he just turned and started. He goes, "Oh, boom. Easy target," and shot her in the leg. I don't know why. So,
well, this is Trump. Trump. That is a Trump move, right?
They feel emboldened, and he had that speech a couple of years ago when he was president the first time, where he was like, when you're putting them in the car and you put your hand on their head to protect their head, maybe you don't do that. Maybe you and he's basically saying slam their head into the car.
Yeah.
But he was joking, but like that sends a bad message.
No.
Also,
they're very emboldened. They're very well. Like Trump, he's really good at making nicknames up. He's really good at poking, right? You poke the bear. He pokes the bear. He just keeps poking the bear. He keeps poking the bear, and his people do the same thing. It's owning the libs. You're owning the libs, right? Like
he didn't start that. Like Ben Shapiro started that just before the era of Trump. The whole like I'm drinking liberal tears thing.
Yeah, but Trump took it to a whole new realm, right?
Yeah.
And so and that's what that police officer did, was owning the libs. Oh, you're a reporter? Like boom, I'm gonna shoot you in the leg. There's not a lot of right-wing reporters.
She was a cute reporter too. Why do you have to shoot her? I don't know. But that's the thing. So the National Guard showed up, and then the National Guard, most of them have been inside the federal building. Like they don't have there's 4,000 of them now. There's 2,000 at first, and then he called it another 2,000. Most of them have been just inside the building. The only thing they're really allowed to do is guard the federal building. So they have like a perimeter set up around that. So and everybody was like, what are they going to do? What are the Marines going to do? The Marines are not trained in how to handle crowd control. Like the Marines are trained to kill. So like what are they going to be doing when we get there? So Jennifer Griffin is a reporter at Fox, and she's actually a really good reporter. And if ever you see her talking about something going on military-wise, like she's on it. Like she's connected. She knows what's going on. This is really quick, but this is her explaining what their role is going to be on Fox News.
Like the National Guard, the Marines will not have ammunition in their weapons. Any ammunition they do have will be part of their regular uniforms to be used in self-defense as a last resort. Aisha?
That clears it up, doesn't it? They won't have any ammunition, but the ammunition they do have will be part of their regular uniform and will only be used as a last resort. So will they or will they not have ammunition? I'm confused by what's going on here. Maybe like, I don't know. Maybe like a gun they keep on their ankle. I don't really know. It's part of the uniform.
That's probably about right. Yeah.
So anyhow, but like I said, the Marines still have not even gotten there, and with this court order tonight, I'm guessing they're never going to get there. I'm just guessing.
Well, how many I'm curious as to how many of our National Guard and our Marines and our Army and our Navy are not absolutely 100% into this.
I'll bet it's probably, and I'm just pulling a number out of my rear here, but I'm gonna bet it's like 70-30 or 80-20. Like 70% are pro-Trump, pro-MAGA. Military type people
Yeah, but
tend to.
even being pro-Trump, pro-MAGA, like firing rubber bullets at a crowd of people who are I mean, a crowd of people of anybody is crazy, but a crowd of peaceful protesters is fucking insane.
So what I was gonna say, and I might be wrong, I'm just guessing here, but I think a lot of military people, 70 to 80% of them, are Fox News type people. Like they grew up on Fox, they grew up in Republican households, and when they're out there, this is the liberals that are trying to destroy America. Look at them. They're burning down their own city. They're starting fires and spray painting stuff. These liberals are hurting America. I'll bet a lot of them could justify that. Oh no, I'll shoot him in the leg, or I'll, whatever. I don't think they have a problem with it. I'll bet there is a good 30% or so that are like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
It's not 50-50, I don't think. I hope I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I am.
That's scary, man. That's really scary.
I'm around enough Republicans up here, and it's funny because they'll say random things like that where it's just like, yeah, Trump's locking up, liberals, or, whatever it is. And they're like, good, lock them all up. And I'm just like, okay, like, okay.
They're trying to destroy our country with their liberal ideals.
Yep, I'm telling you, that's a for real feeling that's held by Republicans, by a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them. So,
oh my God,
yeah, there was actually a poll the other day, and it was of Republican voters, but basically they're okay. It was like 80% of them are okay with an authoritarian leader as long as he is in agreement with them, as long as he's on their side, and then like 80% of Republicans were cool with that. I'm just like
80% of Republicans,
yeah, I should
are
have
okay with an authoritarian regime
as long as he agrees with them, as long as it's their guy.
Oh, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, because as long as he's hurting the other side, I don't care. So,
I mean, we know Republicans, and they're like at this point, I've kind of written their opinions off on politics.
Yeah,
all of them. Every single one of them, their opinions suck.
I used to try to talk to them, and I'd be like, "Hey, maybe if I just have a talk about immigration with this person, like I'll be able to get through about certain things."
Yeah,
and
we all know an immigrant, right?
Dude, at the end of the talk, I always think I'm like, I made some progress tonight. Like he's at least thinking about it now. And then like within a week or two, I'll see that person again and talk to him about it. And it's like, oh, never mind. I made zero impact. It wasn't worth the time. So I'm at the point now where I'm not trying to do that. I don't have it in me. So
yeah, you can't. Yeah, you can't change people's minds anymore. It's kind of crazy. Dude, I went for lunch the other day. I went to my favorite place, this Italian joint here in Denver, and they have amazing sandwiches. And I was finishing up, and there was this girl sitting next to me, and we started talking. And she was like slowly like moving into the political realm.
It's fun when
we were feeling each other out,
So that's when I'm talking to people up here, I'll be like, oh, well, I think, these tariffs, they can end up hurting people. And I'll kind of throw some out there like that to see what the response is.
Yeah.
And then I know either back off or okay. And it's almost like dating where you have to throw out feelers and kind of see, is it okay to move forward or not? Yeah.
Yeah, but within like 5 minutes, she was full force. She was completely on my side, maybe even farther left than me, and like threw out the fact that she hopes Trump gets assassinated, like multiple times at this bar.
Don't say that on the air.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't know how I, but this was she completely was. She said it like 8 times in a row.
Oh man,
like loud in this bar, and she was full-fledged on.
Yeah.
On this, and I was just like, oh man, I mean,
I'm a firm believer that if you're talking on the phone or something like that, and you say like the word like Trump and then blank the other word, like automatically that's flagged, and like somebody at the FBI is listening to your call. I don't know why, I just firmly believe that's the case. So
it could be, but
anyhow. And then there was another thing today. Did you see his name is Senator Padilla, Padilla. Is that Padilla? He's the senator from California. He took Kamala Harris's seat when she ran for VP.
Okay.
And have you seen any of the video today from when he showed up at?
I saw a little bit of it, but I didn't see any context. Like, why did he get arrested?
So he never actually got arrested, and he never actually technically got detained. He did get cuffed, which in my mind that means detained.
That's detained,
But
yeah.
they're being very specific with he was not arrested or detained. He was just like basically placed in cuffs while they figured out what was going on. So we're gonna watch the video of what happened here. I'm just gonna say this before we watch the video. Kristi Noem was speaking, and this is in Los Angeles at a federal building, and she's given a press conference about the LA riots. And I wish I would have pulled this clip, but
Does
she's
she have a
like,
cute little outfit on?
she wasn't looking bad. The Ice Barbie, yeah. But she in this, I didn't pull this clip, but she said that we are not leaving until we liberate Los Angeles from their socialist mayor and governor and this and that. It's like that's authoritarian. Like I don't know what that is. Like
It sounds like war, yeah.
you're gonna liberate the state from their leadership they elected. But yeah, she was in the midst of saying that. And he showed up. Which first of all, I'm confused as to why he was there. They're voting on stuff in the Senate today, so he's in L.A. instead of D.C. But seems like he's taking a note from Gavin. Gavin's getting a lot of praise for standing up to Trump right now, which we're going to talk about in a second. But I think he was like, "Hey, I'm going to stand up. I'm going to make a name for myself." Seemed like he wanted to make a show of this.
Sure.
But she's talking, and then at one point he's kind of standing off to the side, and at one point he kind of steps forward and interrupts her, starts talking over her, and is basically challenging whatever she just said. I can't remember what it was, but he starts challenging, and immediately, like she's a cabinet member, so she has Secret Service and stuff. Some of her guys, I don't know if they were Secret Service or maybe just her aides, but they turn almost immediately and start trying to push him towards the door. And he's like, I'm a senator. I'm Senator Padilla from California. Like, I have the right to be here and ask this question. And then it starts to get physical. They eventually get him out the door. You'll see that on the tape here in a second. But Kristi Noem goes on Fox almost right afterward and said he barged into the room and started screaming at me and lunged towards me, is what she said. Let's watch the video real quick. Can you tell me if you see any of that? I think this is from Fox.
Guys, ready? And bell seat. Sir, hands up, hands up. I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the secretary because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your hands up.
How many of our ice agents have been docked?
On the ground. On the ground. Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
If you let my hands go and stand behind my back.
All right. Cool. Other hand. Lay flat. Lay flat.
Other hand, sir. Other hand.
There's no recording allowed out here. I do not know. There's no recording allowed out here per FBI, right? For what, I'm sorry? There's no recording allowed out here. That's my boss. I have to There's no recording allowed out here. You can record. There's no recording allowed out here. I'm not a member There's of no recording allowed. I understand that, sir, but...
Okay, I don't think he's right about there's no recording allowed, but also that was FBI agents arresting him.
Okay. Once he got into the hall, or once he started to get towards that opening, the FBI grabbed him.
That's the FBI grabbed him and put him in cuffs. Also, like he just seems like he seemed drunk. Did you?
I didn't think he seemed drunk.
He didn't seem like he had his coordination down. He was very off balance.
Something tells me if he had alcohol on his breath, we would have heard that from several. Like they would have been definitely saying that. So that hasn't been said yet. Now here's the thing. I didn't see him lunge towards her. He immediately said, "I'm."
Well, I didn't hear the question either. There was no question. I still haven't seen like the beginning of that.
He was trying to ask, she had just made the comment about liberating Los Angeles from their socialist leaders or whatever, and that's when he stepped in. And he was trying to ask some question about like, your department released 12 criminals or something. Like I've been trying to figure out what he was asking there, and I have no clue, and I haven't seen it anywhere. So I'm very curious what his actual question was. But she said that he lunged and all that. He didn't. Now, what she did say was that he was trying to create a spectacle, create a moment to make a name for himself. Yeah, he was. She said that it was theater. Now,
hold on. He was trying to create a spectacle, and her team created more of a spectacle.
That and you could almost say that's the reverse of Trump. He was pulling a Trump, like he wanted the spectacle. He wanted to
Yeah.
get drug out of there, like to make a name for himself.
Well,
So
I didn't see the beginning, so I don't know what he was
yeah,
actually doing. Like,
I can't.
and also like he should be in Congress voting. Like,
Yeah.
go vote.
So
Yeah. This is stupid.
she's right that he was trying to create a space. And at one point, she said that it was theater. Now, the only reason I'm going to give her shit here is this is Ice Barbie, the girl that cosplays and dresses up as a this and dresses up as a that.
The girl who
And
shot her dog.
yeah, she shot her dog. So if there's anybody that has no room to talk about somebody just creating theater and trying to make a spectacle, she's the queen of that. So her saying that doesn't carry much weight for me, but she is correct in this instance. Now, he's the senator from California. He to get into that building. This was in the federal building, in the FBI's building. You have to go through security to get into there. He's standing in there. That's the only thing is where I'm like, they should have known he's a senator. Like, and then Dan Bongino came out with a statement tonight that said he wasn't wearing his Senate pin that they're supposed to wear, and he didn't identify himself as a senator. That's what Bongino said.
But how did he get into that little small hall there?
Exactly. And he also identified himself immediately several times, saying, I'm Senator Padilla. I have a right to be here, blah, blah, blah. And according to other senators, they're only supposed to wear their Senate pin when they're in the Capitol. Like when they're in that building, they have to have their Senate pin on. Outside of the building, they don't wear their pin. Either way, both, in my mind, it's alarming, A, that we saw a senator get taken to the ground and handcuffed by the FBI today. That's alarming. But also, I think he was kind of hoping that something along those lines would happen. That's just where I'm at.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
So, yeah.
He was hoping that was going to happen. She could have handled it way better and like actually answered his question. But here's the thing is this is what I've been noticing a lot is like with these hearings, I've been watching a lot of these stupid hearings, and these people do not answer questions.
It's gotten
there
worse.
is no question answering, even a yes or no question. They like ramble on and on about nonsense and they will not answer a question. And this is like a detriment to our society.
So
if you cannot answer a question and we can't have if we can't have a conversation with the left and the right, then we don't even have like a civilized society at this point.
I agree with you. Now I'll say this. That's been going on for as long as I can remember watching these things. And I was watching them back in the 2000s when you were probably not paying attention, but it used to be an art. Like the ability for them to ask you a question and for you to fill up the whole 5 minutes they have responding and talking a lot, but never really answering the question. Like there were some people that were good at it, and it was kind of, I was like, oh wow, he managed to ramble that whole time and never actually directly answer the question. And time's up. So they've done that for a long time. Where it's changed now is like Hegseth was today, like he was almost like in your face, like not only am I not going to answer the question, but I'm also going to slam you in the process. And like, there's not a damn thing you can do about it. And that's like the attitude that a lot of these people have. And it's just like,
this is the fucking problem with our whole fucking society is like, if we can't have a conversation about issues, then we're screwed. We're completely and utterly fucked. If you can't have a conversation and you can't argue your point in a coherent manner, then you don't have a argument. You should be kicked out of whatever you're doing right then and there. You should be kicked out. You're done.
And that's the problem is Congress doesn't have any teeth in this. And I've said it before, but like in the first Trump term, there was a lot of things where it's like, hey, the president's not allowed to do that. And then Trump would be like, but if I do it, what's the punishment? And it was like, oh, actually, they didn't write down a punishment because they just figured if we say the president's not allowed, that's enough. And Trump started to realize that like there's no punishment, like I can just do it. And I feel like that's extended itself to other areas of our government right now. And like with Congress, it's like they'll try to say like, hey, you have to answer to us. We're oversight. We control the purse strings, this and that. But like, no, you don't have any teeth, and they can just tell you to F off, and there's not a lot you can do about it. And I think more and more we're learning that like, oh, there's all these norms, and that's all they are norms. Like you're supposed to answer to Congress, but if you don't, what is Congress going to call the police on you?
These are the leaders of our country. These are the people who are thinking and acting on our behalf. And the fact that they can't come up with a coherent answer about why they're doing something, why are we electing them to our...
It's our fault. We put all these people there.
Yeah.
We did. And
this is a problem. This is the biggest problem. Like, I want people who actually can think and convey their in any situation.
Yep.
I want them to be able to think and come up with an actual solution and have a conversation with the opposite, and the best argument wins, right?
That's not the system we're in right now. I should be, but it's not the system we're in. And
I mean,
it, like
that's the best system you could possibly have, right?
we're not doing it that way. And we talked about it a couple weeks ago, but like if you like in the Senate alone, you look at McConnell and Grassley are both barely hanging on by a thread, and both of them just got reelected, and they're like 90. Senator Dianne Feinstein from California, she died 3 years ago or so, but like she was being wheeled around in a wheelchair the last couple of months, and like couldn't really speak. And
Weekend
like
at Bernie's.
I'm telling you, but like the people in their districts voted for them. Like we all are putting everybody we're complaining about, we're doing it. Like it's us. We need to elect better candidates. We need to more people need to get involved in the primaries. Like that's the answer to this. More people need to get involved in the primaries. Go vote in the primaries. Get a better two candidates, and then pick the best one. Like that would fix the situation.
Well, I mean, is this a problem with our education system though? Like, is that what this is? We're voting these people in who can't
I think it's
coherently like argue their position on something. Like we should all be able to argue a position on something, right? On it.
Well said.
On everything, on every issue. We should all be able to coherently argue our position on everything. Sorry,
or
the wheels are turning right now.
Or if you don't have enough knowledge on the topic, then you should feel totally comfortable saying, hey, I don't know enough about this, so I don't really have a position or a comment or whatever, versus trying to bullshit us when you clearly have no, like Gary Johnson. Right. Real quick, Gary Johnson was the Libertarian candidate back in 2016, and there was a short period where I was on the Gary Johnson Express, and his VP was Bill Weld, and I really liked that guy. And then Gary Johnson went
Side note, we grew up in Arlington, Texas, the capital of libertarianism.
I didn't know that it was the capital of libertarianism. Anyhow, Gary Johnson was he was up to like 12% in the polls, which is big for a third party. And then he went on like one of the shows, I don't remember which one, and they asked him about Aleppo. Aleppo is a country in Syria. And it had just been bombed by Russia and this and that. It had been gassed, I believe, like a war crime. Yeah. And they asked him about that, and he was like, "What's Aleppo?" And they were like, "You don't know what Aleppo is?" Like, "Nope, never heard of Aleppo." And it's like, God damn it! And that crushed him right there. Like that was a bad thing. So, and real quick, so I heard somebody say this, and they were saying it in relation to Dave Smith, the comedian that Rogan always talks about that's a libertarian. But it made sense to me.
Complete tool bag.
It is. It made sense to me though. Like I am starting to get, anytime anybody tells me they're a libertarian, I think less of them. And I'm not trying to be rude to anybody we know, but like every libertarian we know that says they're a libertarian, they all vote Republican and they defend Republican, but then they don't want to say I'm a Republican because then they're going to have to deal with questions. So, oh, I'm a libertarian, but I voted for Trump. But they won't tell you if they voted for Trump, but I think all libertarians are Republicans that are too afraid to say they're a Republican in person. Maybe I'm wrong.
Oh, you're right. I think you're completely right, actually. That's an awesome point. I like that.
Yeah.
And I do think that the libertarians have some decent ideas, like less government.
Yeah. And that's a Republican idea, though. So smaller government.
So, yeah.
Where the libertarians lose me is they're like, all drugs should be legal. And it's like, well, hold on. I don't know that heroin or fentanyl or, there's certain drugs I don't think should be legal.
No, it's been proven. Like there's a couple countries that have legalized all drugs and they do pretty well. Like they set up the system to where like, if you're a heroin addict, you can go into this facility and you can buy government grade heroin, and we have people to look after you while you do your heroin because you're an addict, right?
It's kind of like going on one of those ayahuasca retreats, which apparently they're illegal, but like they're all over the U.S. Like there's some in there's some in Austin that like celebrities are going to and doing ayahuasca, and like you're supervised and monitored the whole time you do it. And
can we send all of our politicians to an ayahuasca retreat?
I don't know. Aaron Rodgers started doing ayahuasca and he got weird. So I mean, that's when he started. He goes every offseason. He goes and does these ayahuasca things in like South America, and that's when he started getting like a little weird. So maybe it's not the right answer for everybody. Is all I'm gonna say.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Give them all shrooms. Let them all trip on shrooms once, and they'll all look at things differently. So
maybe, yeah.
Anyhow, hey, last thing I was going to talk about. Speaking of politicians and candidates, and us putting good candidates on the ticket. You know who this LA riot stuff has been really good for? It's gonna piss you off.
LA riot stuff is really good for
Trump won.
Gavin Newsom.
Gavin's stock is rising big
Yeah.
time. And
How high is it right now?
I don't know what he's putting. So he's actually, I saw today, he is leading the possible Democratic candidates, but it was only at like 18%. There's like so many of them in there that like 18% was the clear favorite right now. But once people start, that means nothing. But
We're still 3 years and like 3 months away from any.
we're like 2 years away from like people launching campaigns. Like not
Okay.
even probably a year and a half from people. As soon as the midterms are over, you have to decide
We're
if you're
still
getting in.
3 years away from like the Democratic National
Yeah,
Convention.
but I'm saying campaigns start a year before that. So anyhow, I'm just going to say this. Democrats desperately wanted somebody, not even Democrats, anybody that doesn't like Trump, the resistance will say, just wanted anybody to stand up to Trump. Anybody.
Yeah.
And Gavin has been hysterical to watch for me because as soon as Trump got in office, he in his mind he was like, I got a good idea. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to start a podcast and I'm going to get along with Steve Bannon and Charlie Kirk and it didn't work out. People were shitting
No,
all over him.
horrible.
And he rebranded. He did a pivot, and now he's like, I am going to stand up to Trump, and he's saying all the right things. Like he really is. I don't like Gavin at all, and I don't want him to be a candidate. But I'll just tell you right now, he's the only person. If you're anti-Trump, he's the only person that's really doing anything that you enjoy right now.
Here's where he doesn't appeal to me at all. Is he's not authentic. And you just pointed it out. He started a podcast where he's going to go centrist, and then he pivoted. He saw that didn't work, so he pivoted to, and he's just not an authentic person. He's he's just a wishy-washy like politician, and he's going to flow where the waves go, right? He doesn't stand for anything. Like Bernie Sanders is my man because he's been saying the same things for 70 years or whatever. 150 years, Bernie Sanders has been saying the same thing over and over and again. And like, he's not wavering.
Kyle Klinsky, who I know you listen to, he always calls him Greasy Gavin. And I don't know why
greasy.
that name sticks with me. Yeah, I'm just like Greasy Gavin. But
he's a slime ball. He's totally a slime ball. That's why I look at him.
The thing is, I'm going to say this. There were a couple, it was the universities first. There were a couple universities after like a Columbia and a couple of them had bent the knee to Trump. And then there were a couple of them like Harvard that said, no, we're not doing it. And then everybody looked around and realized like, oh shit, people have Harvard's back because they're standing up to Trump. And then there were some law firms that started standing up to Trump and lawyers started leaving the law firms that were bending the knee and going to those.
Yep.
So, and now Gavin's doing this and his stock is rising. And I
Good.
think that senator today that got handcuffed, he saw what Gavin was doing and he said, hey, I'm getting in on this. And
Good.
if anything, I think this is good because people are going to start to see that, hey, you can stand up to Trump and it can be good for you. So the problem
I'll give him credit. I'll give him credit for finding this ground that we want, but he should have known that before. Like I wanted this from the very beginning before he started his podcast.
Whether you like it or not, right now, today, Gavin is the resistance leader. It might not be this way in a week, but he's
fine.
He's the
fine.
leader.
I'm okay with that. I don't mind, and I'll give him credit for being a resistance leader, but like. And I hope that everybody else like follows suit, right? Like I really want, and well, Bernie Sanders and AOC have been doing the resistance for a long time, more than Gavin.
They have, but I'm just saying now.
And Pete Buttigieg has been resistance.
Yep.
For longer than Gavin.
Another pro for Gavin, though, and I'm not a Gavin guy by any means, but I love Pete because Pete will go on Fox News and he will walk into the lion's den and he'll normally school them. He'll get his 2 cents in
every time.
Gavin will do the same. Gavin goes on and debates Hannity and stuff.
He's good at that.
So I want whoever our candidate is. We've got this thing where too many people are on the left are afraid to go on to right-wing media and they just stick to the places they know they're going to get the softball questions. Whoever we're putting up next time needs to be able to go on Fox News and take the hard questions and fire back at them. Like that needs to happen. Yeah. Gavin and Pete are the best 2 right now.
And I want to say I don't hate Gavin. I just don't think he's authentic.
I agree. So, but the people like Gavin right now, and it's something I want you to come to grips with, is even the ladies are liking the Gavin right now. I have a clip. There's an actress.
The ladies like the Gavin. They like that slick back hair.
Dude, there is an actress I got a video clip of, and I want to see if you know who this actress is, okay? Check this out. I pulled this off Twitter. This is from somebody's social media.
You know things are sick and fucking twisted when the girls feel like it's a safe space to come out and say, Gavin Newsom could get it. Gavin Newsom's got a few good points. Gavin Newsom's got a good hairline. Gavin Newsom's funny. Ladies, we need to stand up. That man is evil. He is not a good person. But he's got good points the past few days. Points good enough for us to feel safe saying that Gavin Newsom could fucking get it.
No, it was just too much drama for me.
You know who that was?
Her nails are too long. She's got a nose job. Like I don't have any clue who that lady is.
Oh man, you don't. Okay, yeah, she's an adult film actress. Her name is Mia Khalifa. At one point, she was like #1 in the world for several years, or for a while. I'm just gonna say.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know how you don't know her. She's the only Arab porn star that I've ever heard of.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyhow,
Where's she from?
Like Lebanon, and she like had death threats because she was doing adult videos dressed in like the hijab or whatever. I don't know the words.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
Okay.
so she had like there was a fatwa. They put a fatwa on her head or something like that.
What's a fatwa?
I think that means like God is calling on them to kill her, or something along those lines.
Oh shit.
Yeah, like a holy.
like a hit out from God?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
What? I didn't know there was a fatwa. A fatwa?
You don't know, look up fatwa. I don't know how to spell it, but look it up real quick.
Holy moly.
I hope I'm right.
Fatwa? Oh,
Yeah.
this is amazing.
Google will help you.
Fatwa is a non-binding legal opinion in Islam issued by a qualified Islamic jurist on a specific issue. It can be compared to a rabbinic responsa in Judaism. Fatwas are often requested to clarify doubts about Islamic law, conduct, or other matters. A fatwa is issued by a mufti who is a specialist in Islamic law, opposed individual, a court or government.
Basically, if someone's broken Islamic law, they've broken the word of Muhammad, then you put a fatwa on them.
Okay, but it's not a hit.
But it's if they've and you're supposed to take care of that person. Basically, they're not following the word of Muhammad. You take them out.
I love it.
There's a author named Salman Rushdie, something like that. I don't know, when we were younger, but he wrote a book about Islam, and they put a fatwa on him for 20 years. He was living in hiding because of it.
Dude, anyhow, I love it. I love that. I love it. Fatwa. Yeah. I'm going to use that at some point.
But for that point though, real quick, let's back up on Gavin real quick. There's a part of me that thinks that both Trump and Gavin don't really have any incentive to fix this LA thing. Like the longer this goes on, the better it is for both of them, and that worries me because this is Gavin's moment in the sun right here.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think they can fix it. There's no fixing. It's already done, right?
I think once the National Guard and the Marines leave, I think things will start to calm down.
Okay.
But we'll see. And also, there seems to be, you mentioned something about this earlier, but there seems to be a change in Trump's rhetoric recently. So at the beginning, when he was first running for office, he said that we're going to go after the violent criminals and the bad people, the bad hombres, I think is what he said. And the Hispanic groups and the Cuban groups and like the Cubans in Florida were like Cubans for Trump, and they didn't think he was going to deport the good ones, the ones that are just here working an honest living. Right. Stephen Miller got mad because they weren't deporting as many people as Joe Biden, and that's when he told them. He said, "Go to the Home Depots, go to the 7-Elevens, like just go get them." And then they
put like a 1,200 person a day,
quota of how many they need to get.
Quota, yeah.
So that's what they decided. They said, "Hey, we're not going after the bad ones anymore. We're just go get the easy ones. Go to the farms." People picking vegetables and whatnot, go get them, go get the people in the poultry plants. So that's what they started doing in the last week. And now Trump is hearing from all these business owners. Okay. Apparently this happened real quick, but he was getting calls from everybody. Our business can't survive if you take away our cheap migrant labor, which everybody's been saying that for so long. Donald Trump has been in the 70 years before he started running for office, Donald Trump was in hospitality, construction, and entertainment. Okay. In those fields, you should understand what the migrant labor workforce does. But okay, whatever.
Not entertainment, but yeah,
Hospitality and
hospitality
construction for sure. So
Yeah.
anyhow, Trump came out this morning and he said this. I don't even know what channel this is on, but check this out real quick.
What made you change your mind about targeting in California farmers and people in the hotel and leisure business?
Well, we're not targeting. In fact, if you look today, I put out a statement today about farmers. Our farmers are being hurt badly by, they have very good workers. They've worked for them for 20 years. They're not citizens, but they've turned out to be, great. And we're going to have to do something about that. We can't take farmers and take all their people and send them back because they don't have maybe what they're supposed to have, maybe not. And you know what's going to happen and what is happening? They get rid of some of the people because, you go into a farm and you look and people they've been there for 20, 25 years and they've worked great and the owner of the farm loves them and everything else. And then you're supposed to throw them out. And you know what happens? They end up hiring the people, the criminals that have come in, the murderers from prisons and everything else. So we're going to have an order on that pretty soon, I think. We can't do that to our farmers and leisure too, hotels. We're going to have to use a lot of common sense on that.
We're gonna have to use common sense. Go fuck yourself. Hold on.
So, hey, do you know what the word would be? This is killing me. There's a word for it. If we were going to say, hey, all the good ones that are here that are working and doing a good job, let's let them stay legally. There's a word for that. Do you know what that word is?
Go. What is it?
Amnesty. Okay. Democrats have been trying to work amnesty into every border bill and every immigration bill and saying, hey, first of all, there's no way we're going to round up all the ones that are here. That's too unpractical. But the ones that are here and working and contributing to society, let's find a way to give them an easy path to citizenship and get them on paper, get them officially paying taxes. And Republicans are a hard no. Amnesty is a dirty word to them. There's no scenario where they will let that word get into a bill. And now Trump just basically said, we should give amnesty to the ones that are here working hard and living good lives, which is that's everything Democrats have been trying to get. Anyhow, that's good that he's thinking that way. But like 2 hours after he said that, I think Stephen Miller must have gotten a hold of his phone after that, because there was a Truth on Truth Social after that where he was basically saying anyone who came into our country illegally, blah, 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 is going to get removed. This was on Donald Trump's account. So he said that live, and then 2 hours later backtracked and said, no, if you came into this country illegally, you're out of here. So he's already back to where he was.
Yeah, but there's fruit rotting on the trees right now.
There's a report I saw today on Fox about tomatoes in Florida, and because of that, I guess their migrant workforce just left. They don't want to get deported, so they're out of there, and it's basically cheaper for them to just plow the tomatoes under to run them over, I guess, versus pay white people to pick them. So, anywho,
that's not good. We're he's just running this country into the ground because he doesn't know what he's doing in any aspect. I can't think of one thing he's doing correct right now.
There's a lot of economists right now that are saying that because quarter one we had a slight retraction in the GDP, so not a recession yet. You need 2 straight quarters. People are saying quarter two is either going to be a slight retraction or slight growth, like negative 0.5 to positive 0.5, somewhere in that window.
Okay.
But everybody right now is saying Q3, Q4 is where it's going to hit. That's where it's going to be the worst. And that's exactly what he doesn't want. He wanted all the pain to get out of the way real quick so that it's not happening as we're leading up to midterms. And it's looking like, if you believe these economists, we're still not feeling the full pain of the tariffs and the immigration raids, and that's coming. So I don't.
But here's the thing. If he gets all the pain out of the way real quick, he doesn't have a plan to make it better. There's no plan in place to get it back to a good position, right? He's just dropping us down, and then how is he going to lift us back up? I haven't heard anything about how he's going to make the tariffs better, how he's going to get people in the farms picking tomatoes, or how he's going to get the civil unrest from these protests under control.
Either one of those on their own, the tariffs on their own, he doesn't have a good plan for. And at the end of this, if we just end up with tariffs on every nation, that's a tax on us. So that's bad. Getting all the immigrants out of here that are picking our fruit and, working in garment factories and all that, There's no plan for that. So either one of those by themselves would be enough to really hurt our economy, but both of them together, whew, I mean,
Yeah, and you know what I was thinking about the other day is like I love like growing up in Texas, like we grew up in Hispanic communities
yeah,
basically. Like we lived in Hispanic communities. The Hispanics were part of our community. We eat their food. We hang out with their culture. We like I love their culture. I love their
the
food.
food I like.
I love the fact that they're like family oriented. They're community oriented. They're like some of the best people in the world, right?
They're normally religious too. They're normally like
Yeah, they're super Catholic,
yeah.
like which may have a part to do with it, but like we're kicking those people out, and those people are the people who are most representative of the time that the Republicans want back. Like they want the
Yeah.
1950s back, right? They want
That
the
and that's
1950s and the 1940s back where like it was a middle class and like you're family oriented and you had the white picket fence in the front yard and like the Hispanic community is like they embody that, right? Like they're the ones who are living that society and they're kicking them out.
and that what you everything you just said is why, and they've been talking about it for a while. But the Hispanics have been moving to the right. Like they're more and more. The Hispanics used to be a solid Democrat bloc, and they've been moving Republican. It's that they share those values, like they really
Yeah.
do. And
Yeah.
for some reason, the right wants to get most of them out of here. So
Yeah.
all the lure.
Yeah. How weird is that, right?
It's awfully weird.
Huh.
And yeah, we only got a couple minutes left here. Real quick, this weekend, we both have big plans this weekend. I am going to go, and I don't know if I'm going to really participate. I might kind of sit on the sidelines and watch, but I'm going to my first ever like political rally slash protest this weekend.
Well, is the AOC going to be there too, or just Bernie?
No, so that's 2 weeks from now. Bernie's coming to Tulsa in 2 weeks. I'm going to try to go to that. But this weekend is the No Kings protests. Trump's having his big military parade on Saturday, and basically there are protests in how many different cities did you say?
1,800 cities.
1,800. So I'm going to the one in Tulsa. You're going to the one in Denver, you said?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and let's wear protection because we could get shot by tear gas.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna get a gas mask. Get a gas mask.
I'll tell you this: I got a wife and a kid, and I can't get arrested or hurt. So like, I'm gonna go down there and kind of poke my head around and see what's going on. But like, if stuff starts to get a little wild and police and this and that, I'm bailing real quick. Like I'm not gonna get thrown in jail this weekend.
It'll be so I went to the George Floyd one in Denver.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very, very peaceful protesting until the sun went down. As soon as the sun went down, it started getting wild.
Yeah, I'll be out of there well before the sun goes down. I'm not sticking around for that. But I'm excited to go see it. And then, like you just said, I got Bernie coming in 2 weeks. I don't know if AOC is coming here, but I'm working on something to hopefully I'll be there in general. But I'm trying to see if I can get some special access. We'll talk about that if it comes to fruition. But
that'd be cool.
Yeah. So if you are upset at the stuff you're seeing on TV and you want to go make your voice heard, odds are in your city there's a No Kings protest this weekend. So look for info, show up. Don't break property, don't burn things, don't spray paint stuff. Just go and be peaceful.
Yep.
And if you break property,
peaceful protesting, peaceful protesting.
If you're not peaceful, if you break property or act like a jackass, I hope you get shot in the nuts by a tear gas canister.
I had one more thing.
Okay,
I had on my list. Did you see? I think it was the ex-prime minister of Canada,
where he tried to like bring indictments on Donald Trump or something the other day.
Well, he basically said Canada cannot consider the U.S. as an ally anymore.
Yeah, several of them have said that. Carney said that. Ford, the premier of like Ontario, I don't know where he's at. There's been a couple leaders in Canada that have flat out said that. Like we can't think of this like us and the U.S. are friends anymore. We're not. Like this is the new way. We're moving forward.
Canada's our enemy.
We're not their friend. They're not enemy, but we're not their partner. Yeah, Canada.
Also, have you seen AI Jesus yet?
I've seen AI Jesus and the AI Yeti and Bigfoot are my
AI
favorite things.
Bigfoot Yeti is pretty good, but
that's the only good thing I've seen AI used for so far. But those Bigfoot videos crack me up.
They're good. AI Jesus is weird though.
Yeah, and then I've seen a bunch of like Muhammad, and a bunch of biblical ones. Yeah, they're cracking me up. But I think the Bigfoot ones are definitely my favorite at the moment. So
definitely.
Yeah, so all right. Let's get out of here, man. I will talk to you soon. If anything pops off with Israel and Iran, I guess we'll be back on in the next day or two.
All right. Later, brother.
Later.
Sometimes you eat the bar, Sometimes the bar eats you.